Mr. Mueller's art class, Elements of Art, Shapes, Part 2. There are all different kinds of shapes. The ones that we're going to focus on today are squares and rectangles. Now, squares are actually a rectangle, so we're going to move that over to the rectangle pile. What's the definition of a rectangle? A rectangle must have 4 straight sides. Also, a rectangle must have 4 right angles. Now let's look at some famous artwork that uses the shapes of rectangles and squares. This piece is by Leon Polk Smith, an American born in 1906, died 1996. It is called Homage to Victory Boogie Woogie No. 1, made in 1946. It's oil on canvas. Born in Indian Territory in what is now Oklahoma, Leon Polk was trained in New York and France. In the 1930s, he came to know the work of Constantin Brancusi, Jean Arp, and Pierre Mondrian. His own works adopted geometric abstraction and a non-objective vocabulary. Smith was not particularly interested in Mondrian's theories, but responded to the visual impact of Mondrian's grid and the sense of extension beyond the edge of the canvas. In fact, Polk Smith never met Mondrian. Nonetheless, in 1946, he painted several works in tribute to him, beginning with this work, Homage to Victory Boogie Woogie No. 1. It is interesting that Smith chose an unfinished Mondrian and one that was begun in New York as the point of departure for his homage. His own work is not confined by any strict rules concerning color and line. Rather, the floating color planes imply a response to the urban landscape, a dizzying bird's eye view, perhaps from the height of a skyscraper. Speaking of Pierre Mondrian, this is Pierre Mondrian, a Dutch artist born in 1872, died in 1944. The piece is called Place de la Concorde. It was completed between 1938 and 1943. It's oil on canvas. Horizontal and vertical black stripes and blocks of yellow, blue, and red against a white background create an active pattern of irregular sequences. Although this painting was named after a bustling square in Paris, it is removed from any notion of realistic reproduction. Rather, the network of lines and color blocks pulsates with the energy of the modern city that Mondrian embraced and celebrated. Mondrian brought this painting with him when he fled Paris in 1938 and settled in New York City a few years later. Responding to the dynamism of the modern American city, he altered the painting, scraping away paint, widening lines, and adding bars of color. He said the blocks of color he added gave the work more boogie woogie. And finally, another artist who did similar work, Ilya Bolotowski, an American born in Russia in 1907, died in 1981. This piece is called Open Diamond, completed in 1953. So now let's get onto Pixlr and make our own version of art based on these shapes paintings that we just saw. Remember to type in Pixlr space editor, Editor. Enter, and you'll come up with these options. Go with the first one, with Online Photo Editor, and scroll down to Launch Pixlr X. So we're going to use this simple one again, and we're going to create new. Once we click on create new, we'll just leave it on full HD, and we can give it a title. Remember to always title it with your name, first and last. And for this one, I'm going to just type in shapes 2. You can give it a more creative title if you want to. Alright, so for this one, what we're going to do is we're going to just make a big picture like what we just saw using rectangles and different colors. So that tool to use for this would be right down here called Drawing Tool. You're going to click on the Drawing Tool and you have all these options up here. We're going to just go with the Shape tool. Once again, just shapes. And for this one, we're using only the, well, it looks like a square, but like I told you before, that is a rectangle, even though it says square shape. Alright, so I'm going to start out by giving myself a big background to work with. I'm going to maybe do mine white. And if you were listening in the videos, the other artists like P.A. Mondrian, they would base their ideas off of city streets. So maybe if you have a favorite city or you want to draw your neighborhood, it'd be like a bird's eye view looking down on the streets. So you wouldn't really see everything but the streets in this, or the houses. Alright, so I've got my background color. Now I'm going to change colors. And I kind of liked how P.A. Mondrian uses a lot of black lines, so I'm going to start with some of those. Now you guys can design this any way you want, as long as you're using the rectangle or square tool and shapes and different colors. So remember, rectangles have 4 sides and they make right angles. So these are all right angles. Another word for that is that they're perpendicular to each other. And yours doesn't have to look exactly like this at all. All I'm doing is I'm clicking and dragging, and this is all on one layer today. It's not even that complicated for you. Made it a little easier, hopefully. You can use different thicknesses too. They don't all have to be the same one. Some lines can be really big if you want them to. Or I should say shapes. And then you're going to add in some colors. And the ones we looked at all used primary colors. Red, yellow, blue. So I'm going to use some of those. Now I want to make sure you guys are using Pixlr. This is a lot like the things professionals use, which is called Adobe Photoshop or Adobe Illustrator or Adobe InDesign. This one's free though. Those ones you'd have to pay for. So it's really cool that you can get online and use this for free. So there's another primary color, a yellow. Put that in there too. This one doesn't have to be very complicated. Or it can be as complicated as you want it to be. It's up to you. It depends on how much time you have. Ooh, I don't like that little white part showing. I'm going to undo that. So yeah, yours does not have to look like this. It just has to be done with rectangles using this program, Pixlr, right there. Okay, I'm almost done with mine. That looks pretty good to me. Neat little balance of color. Let's see, I've got a little bit over there, a little bit over here. I've got the primary colors going on. I think I'll add in one more right there. And maybe one more yellow. Now remember that little trick. If you want to find the exact same color, like I don't know which yellow I was using. Is it right there or there? So you can use this little tool. Click that. That's the color finder tool. And you can click the little one once you have the crosshairs or the cross right on the color. You click it, you can see the little circle turns to that color. Click there, and then you have that color selected automatically. And I don't even have to go back and change my shapes. And yeah, I need a tiny little bit right there. Okay, that's it. All I'm going to do for that. And I'm going to save this. and it's already got my name up there, and it's a JPEG. Perfect. That's all I need for this assignment. I'm going to click download. Now what that does is it goes to your downloads, and your download file, it might be different on iPads, but your download file you can find by searching your files on your computer, and you need to upload that or insert that into the Google Doc. I need you to use the Google Docs because that's the only way that I can make sure I can go back and edit what you do and look at it and tell you if you need to work on anything else. Alright, so that's it for this assignment. You don't have to do any writing for this one. I just want to see the picture. Thanks, and I'll talk to you guys later.